Greetings and welcome to the Greatness Factor podcast, hosted by author, speaker, and property consultant Tinashe C Mudanda. On this podcast, we'll be focusing on the ideas that can help you maximize and unlock the personal potential that is within to become the greatest version of yourself. So sit back and relax and enjoy our content as we delve into the Greatness Factor. Stay blessed.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Greatness Factor podcast. Today I have Joyce again. I have Joyce and I have Emmanuel. They are from JS Happening, and as it is the festive season, we've just decided to come up with something for you guys. The festive season, a lot of companies, corporates have parties, and we would want to know the etiquette that's involved when it comes to attending these parties. Because I don't want to party you want to make a good impression, you want to create new contacts, and so today we have Joyce and Emmanuel from JS Happening. We are going to just speak a little bit of how we're supposed to handle ourselves during the festive season at corporate parties. Hi Joyce, welcome.
Hello, Tinashe. Thank you for having us once again. We're always excited to be on your show, The Greatness Factor, because you're great and we are great and the viewers are great. So thank you so much. And I'm really excited about today's discussion. I've received a lot of questions in my inbox. You know, people asking, what do we do? Or people start relating to different situations that they've encountered at corporate parties. I was actually laughing with a colleague yesterday evening. You know, there's this meme that's going around that's saying that, guys, can you please invite us to your Christmas parties because ours, the bosses have cancelled this year because we had a bit of too much to drink last year and we said the wrong things. So, you know, I'm really excited about the festive season. There are a lot of functions happening, corporate, even in the social settings as well. But most of the times you then discover that, you know, they always sometimes end on an embarrassing note, and you don't want that. You want them to be memorable, but memorable for the right reasons.
No, that's really great. Emmanuel, welcome to the Greatness Factor podcast. Tell us a bit about yourself and JS Happening.
All right. A bit about myself. Wow, where should I start? Emmanuel is a very aspiring young gentleman, and mostly my area of interest is about the upbringing and the grooming of young men and boys into becoming the real gentlemen, the real men they're supposed to be. And I think I can just say that I found the right spot and the right place to learn that so that I can impact others and make others happen, which is the JS Happening, of course. Yes, I'm very glad and I'm very proud to be part of the JS Happening team. And yeah, I think it's going to be a cruising boat that you're going to enjoy.
Spectacular. So before we start, guys, just click the subscribe button, like and share. Please comment on what you think about the topic that we're going to discuss today. Special shout out to the premises.
NLG Legal Associates, I think.
NLG Legal Associates. They are located in the number 74 Coke Road.
Avondale, yes.
Yeah. So let's start. There's a lot of I think there's a big distinction between social parties and corporate parties. And it's very important for us to know how to conduct ourselves, even in terms of dressing. Can you speak on some of the things that people can improve or people should expect or are expected to do when they're attending corporate parties, which is different from social parties?
Thank you very much, Tinashe. Oh, one extra shout out. Shout out to Chairman Tafamombe. How are you? I know he's organizing a party, so soon after this, we are going for the party. And thank you to the host for the wonderful cocktails here. Very nice indeed. So the first thing that we need to understand when it comes to attending corporate parties, even the social parties, the first thing is understanding the occasion. What is it about? So, most of the times we just show up. We hear there's a party. What we are concerned about is the time and are they drinks? Yeah. Is the bride stand fired? But we've not gotten to understand fully. So let me first start by, I like to call it the RSVP, which it is the invitation. So when you prepare to go to a function, it all starts with the invitation. So first, who sent you the invitation and why did they send you that invitation? That's what you need to understand first. Are you just a tag along? Are you going there to network? Are you going there to establish a business relationship? Why are you going? So once you've determined the objective of why you've been given the invitation, why you're going, that will make it easy for you to prepare. Right now, most organizations are having end of year Christmas parties, right? Now, what is the agenda of the parties? Is it just the office people coming together, sharing a drink and some food and music in a relaxed atmosphere? Do they have their customers coming through? Are there other invited guests that are coming? If there are other invited guests that are coming, who are they? Are there other business colleagues, the competition, the suppliers, the support services? Are they coming as well? So yes, in as much as it's a time to relax, what we need to understand is that life is about relationships. So because life is about relationships, you need to always make sure that you maximize on every opportunity that you're given. So if you show up the wrong way mentally, you'll mess up the whole function. You might not do any embarrassing behavior, but if you were there to make sure that you seal a relationship in preparation of next year's business and you don't do it there, you might not get that opportunity because come January, you try to knock at the door, you might not get the response, but maybe your time was at that particular function. So let me just allow me to just quickly run down the invitation, how you do an invitation and how to read through what one is supposed to do at an invitation. So, people have sent and they have received invitations, but we've never really read through how the invitation is structured. So I'm going to just give some tips on how to structure an invitation, whether you're giving it or you're receiving it. So I like to call it the RSVP. So RSVP is French for Répondez s'il vous plaît. Okay, I hope there are no French people. Please don't mind the pronunciation as long as it makes sense. So RSVP is Répondez s'il vous plaît. In simple terms, in simple English, it simply means please respond. Right. What are you responding to on the invitation? You are responding to the details that are there. So the first thing that you need to have on the invitation is what is the invitation about? Right. It's end of year. Is it just a general Christmas party? Is it an appreciation Christmas party for the work that the team has done? Or is it just one of those things that people said, guys, let's put our drinks together and let's show up? So the first thing is, what is it? Why are we calling it? Is there an objective to it? What do we want to achieve at the end of the day from the party? Is it that we want to motivate people? Is it that we want to calm people because they've had a very stressful year? Is it that we want to network? Is it that we want to build new relationships for the coming business year? So why are we calling? Then thirdly, where is it taking place? That's important. So the moment you pick out the venue, it automatically tells you how you should show up when we now come to dressing. right? If the invitation says you are invited to our work pool party, automatically that tells you, you should bring your swimwear, or you should come relaxed, or you can come in your flip-flops. Then if the invitation says it's going to be at a 5-star hotel and they put the room there, that whatever ballroom, automatically it should tell you that, okay, I can't go in my flip-flops. I need to dress up because of the location. So where it's taking place is important. Then 4, also the time. What time is it? Is it in the morning? Is it afternoon? Is it late afternoon? Is it evening? So when you put all those things together, it helps you prepare mentally and you show up the right way. Then usually on the invitations, there's a theme that's there. What is the theme? Is it a masquerade? Is it a ball? Is it, check on the theme. If a theme is not given, it's all right to ask. This is why, you always have the contact details that are put there at the bottom. Call, find out that, okay, thank you for the invitation, but I'd love to understand what type of a party is it? Because you don't want to underdress or overdress, because either way you're going to feel out of place. So you don't want to be the clown of the party. You really need to understand. And right now, I love the setup here, nice fresh air garden. But if you're going to invite people for a party on a day like this, it's already overcast. Chances are that it's going to rain. So let people know that it's a garden party. I'm in heels. I struggled a bit to get to my seat. So, you don't want somebody, fumbling around walking because they're not comfortable. So this is why it's important that you always find out, or at least give those details so that your guests are comfortable when they come and they are prepared for what's going to be taking place at the event.
Okay, that was a very detailed answer. Emmanuel, do you have anything that you would feel you'd want to add to that?
Okay, so just to add on a few things about responding when invited to an event. Recently we had a case. Well, actually, in this case, let me use the example of UZ because I'm a student there. So a university like that is big, and you always have events going on, and a lot of them, some of them you might not be notified, but the fact that they're taking place around your surroundings, right? So we had an event that we held about in September. So when you invite people, usually now, especially nowadays, when you invite people to an event at the school, the first thing that they ask is there food? That's the first thing. That's the first answer you get. They don't say yes, they don't say no. What is the event about? Is there food? They don't care about the details of the event. They don't care about what's going to happen on the event. As long as there's food, they are coming. So you see now, I think it's actually a rising factor that people now attend events for the sake of food, not for what the function is for. You see, so I think it's always good to understand, if invited to a party or if invited to an event, you first understand what is the event about, the setting of the event, what is going to happen, how is the event going to help me individually, or the people that I'm going with, or the person that has invited me, how is the event going to help me. So I think it's always good to remember first, yes, the food always comes later, but then I think it's always good to remember why you're going there, what am I dressing for, and how is the event going to help me. Yeah.
Wow. As you're speaking about food, I just got curious, because most of the time what I do, whichever event, social or corporate, I make sure I eat before I go to an event. So I would like to know, because you find some people will, a corporate event is an event that requires one to be dignified, restrained, discipline. What would you advise someone going to a corporate event to do in terms of eating? Because you find they might have a buffet, and pano munhu wants everything on the table. Is that appropriate? Is munhu plate yese nechikafu, is that appropriate? What does that do to your image? Would you just comment on that?
Okay, thank you very much, Tinashe, for that question. That's one of the things that really gets to me when I go for different functions and I see how people behave around food. And sometimes it's really scary, especially if there are people you look up to and you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So like with any setting, and even culturally, there's a saying that says "Wukama unozadziswa nekudya." So because food is a basic human need, when human beings see food, something happens in their wiring, something, even with kids, it starts from kids all the way to adults. I've always asked a question to people. Let me use an example of the wedding before I answer the corporate side. I've always asked people that, when you're invited to a wedding, you're going to celebrate a union, you're going to celebrate your friend or your relative, right? Now, if you ask people, how was the wedding? If the food was not in tune, that's what they will respond to. They will tell you that, no, the food was not right, or the food came late. And I'm thinking, no, you went to celebrate the people, not the food. The food is an extra. So they'll talk about the food, they'll talk about the deco. But okay, tell us about the vows. How did that go? Because that's the essence of the function. All these other things are secondary to make sure that you're comfortable. So responding on food, depending with the type of function, dining etiquette has a lot of facets to it. So depending with the function, we need to understand the food layout that's going to be there. Is it a cocktail where you have finger foods, where you just pick and you mix and mingle? Is it a barbecue, what we call braai, where people are more relaxed and, the braai stands are firing? Or is it a formal dinner where you need to sit down and food is brought to you? Or it could be a buffet where you need to stand up and get the food. So all these different facets of dining etiquette, you have different styles. You need to behave differently to them, whatever it is. But number one, what I can say, when you're invited to a function, one, do not overgo a meal. If you're invited, at least eat something, nibble. Then number two, do not overeat. It's not your last meal. It's not your last meal. Do not overeat. Eat enough, like a normal person. I don't know what definition I'm going to use for a normal person, but like a normal person. So the first thing, when you arrive at a function, normally we are given welcome drinks like this, or you normally get a very small little glass, or you have your champagne glasses with a cocktail, and that drink you're only supposed to have one. It's to prepare the palate, to wet the palate, awaiting food. Then we've got our finger foods, or what we call in hospitality hors d'oeuvres. The little foods on toothpicks? Okay. Yes. Now with those, you're not supposed to have more than 3. So when you take, it normally has a little cheese, an olive, or some cold meat on it. You're supposed to have 1 or 2. Should you be really hungry, just 3, not more than that. Because by the time you get to the main meal, you are full. And then, when you're given your cocktail, it's for you to sip, not to drink. It's just to wet the palate, to keep the conversation going. So that's why they put, so little. Because I've had people asking that, why is this glass so small? And why haven't they filled it up? See, like these, I see they didn't fill them up. Yeah, because we are not supposed to quench the thirst. It's just there to wet the palate. So what I would recommend whenever you go to a function is that when it comes to starch, at least take a fist size of a fist size portion, or go if it's a buffet where you have a chef serving you, just take 1 serving of everything. Don't ask for extras. Go and sit, eat, finish. If it's a buffet, you're allowed to go several times to get more, but just always start off with one serving. Why? Sometimes the food might not be to your liking. Now you have a plate full and you can't finish it. So now, one, it's a waste of food, and then you find that everyone else has taken, there are people that don't have food because you have taken and wasted food. Then also, it just doesn't look pretty at the table. You know, you have a mountain of food that you can't finish, and everybody is done eating. So just take a little bit, and also go for foods you're familiar with, especially in public settings. You can experiment on food when you're on your own. Try and avoid experimenting on food in public, because you will embarrass yourself. This is where you find that I've seen places where somebody has eaten, they're so full, they're now removing their jacket, unbuttoning, their shirt and tie, because they just can't breathe. It's not your last meal. So I have a question for us. I've always asked people in my classes that, have you ever seen an interview for a CEO or board members? Have you ever seen an interview for CEO or board members?
I think I've come across a few interviews of CEOs being interviewed.
So what happens is that with most CEOs or board members, they rarely get the office interview where they sit down and they have the panel. They are always interviewed on their social graces. So what happens is, I always tell people, if you're invited for whether it's a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner, it's not a breakfast lunch. It's not a breakfast dinner for you to go and eat. It's a test of your character. It's a test of your skills, how you handle yourselves. So sometimes when we're invited to these functions, especially corporate functions, it's a test of your social graces. How do you behave in social settings? So one thing that happens, so if we get to a social setting and they see a person maybe they would want to invite on board in the coming year as CEO, as managing director, whatever, a very high position, if they see you filling up a plate, that's a sign that you're going to embezzle the organization's funds. That's a sign of greed. It's already a sign of greed, that, okay, if they are going to rush for the drinks, the beverages this way, the food this way, your character, your skills are now questionable. So one other extra etiquette tip, when you go to a place, if you immediately salt your food before tasting it, it shows that you make hasty decisions. So these are the things that people will be looking at. How do you behave? Can we trust you? If we wanted to bring you in as one of our suppliers and we invite you to our function, if you come late, we're already questioning, are you going to be able to deliver our stock in good time? So all these things are tests of your social graces. How do you handle yourself? And like I said, when we see food, we tend to get excited and we forget the manners. Yet at that point, that is when you're supposed to show off your best, so that you don't let your image down, so that you don't lose out on opportunities. And you don't want to be the clown of the year. Whenever people refer to a mishap, it's you. Now people are going for the normal business lunch and they're thinking, no, buy him 5 portions because he's never satisfied. You become the clown of the year. And unfortunately, sometimes people actually lose their jobs, their positions because of that behavior. And sometimes people don't know their limit. They don't understand their bodies. I've seen people eating so much that they end up throwing up. That's embarrassing for a work setting where you end up throwing up because you've overindulged. That's gluttony. It's very bad for business. Or people drink so much, you end up insulting your superiors, the bosses, or even the other way around. You end up insulting your subordinates and all. it's very embarrassing, and you lose face, you lose opportunities, you lose business, and you don't want to let your life down over a meal. You see, food is very key. Even in the Bible, it's there. Esau lost his birthright just because of soup. Just because of soup. So we really need to be cognizant of our behavior when it comes to corporate functions.
All right. Just adding on in terms of behavior and setting. So it reminds me of one of the writing that Strive Masiwa wrote. So he mentioned that he wanted an investor to invest in his business, right? So then when he went to him, the first day when he wanted to speak about business, the man refused to talk about business, but instead invited him to dinner. They had dinner. During dinner, he wanted to talk about the business stuff again. So then the guy kept on shutting him out and talking about other things every time he wanted to speak about the business side. So day 2 came. He went to him again. So he was staying in a hotel, by the way. So day 2 came. He introduced his business to the guy. The guy shuns him off. He asked him to golf. They went golfing. So now the third day, when he wasn't expecting it, that's when the guy came back and responded to him. So, all these are some of the traits that, one of the CEOs that go through in terms of training behavior. So it's all about, understanding how you react when someone tries to shun you off when you have something that you want to tell them. They try to see how you react and how your behavior is when something is done to you. So I think, in terms of behavior, it's something that we should often look after and look for. There are these small traits that makes the big things count. So I think it's always good to just, remind ourselves of the settings that we are in and how we behave in those settings as well.
When you ask me about have you seen CEOs being interviewed, it's something that struck in my head, but I wasn't sure which answer was appropriate. I've never seen an interview where a CEO is there drinking or eating. I've never seen where the CEO is being offered food or their drinks like this. It's always usually a composed setup where there isn't much you can tell about the habits of the person, but you get to focus more on what the person is saying. So it's very insightful that you have highlighted these things, that we are being tested on our social graces, on our restraint, on our and there are small markers that show certain traits that either make a deal or break a deal. So I'm interested to know, you were saying all of this, attending corporate events, is to create relationships and to probably broker a deal or get on the good graces of your clients. I wanted to know, can you comment on the appropriate way of closing a business deal during a party like this? Like you were saying, where Dr. Masio was trying to get an investor and the investor is focused on other things and he wants to talk about business. How can we go about it so that we don't rub our clients the wrong way during these social events?
Okay, that's a very good question. So what I would say is that at any given time, assume that you are being watched. At any given time, assume you're being watched. So once you assume that, automatically you'll become aware of your behavior. So always behave well, because you don't know at what time. It might not be at the party. It might be actually in the bathroom, how you behaved in the bathroom. It might actually be how you were driving into a place. Did you greet the person that's directing the vehicles? Did you give way to the other person? So with life, I like to say life is an interview. Every day is an interview. You're being interviewed. And as those interviews are happening, that's where the relationships are established. Now, depending on the setting, where you ask direct questions or not, because sometimes the deal comes in general conversation. It comes in general conversation. It's not a point on that, okay, you know what, we want to do business with you next year, we want such and such an order. Sometimes it's just conversation. You might be asked simple questions like, so yeah, tell us about your organizations. What have you guys been doing this year? And now if we're sitting like in this setting, right, then I start talking and I start complaining that, you know what, Tinashe, we had a very tough year. We lost a lot of orders. A lot of customers didn't come through. Automatically, at the back of your head, even though you didn't tell me directly that you want to do business with me, you're already questioning our work ethic. You're already questioning our delivery time, because you're thinking, look, if they had lawsuits, if they had so and such going on, if they had a high turnover, it means something is not right in their systems or in their structure. So you've already concluded without me going into the specifics, without us going into the specifics. So this is why behavior is very critical. It's a part of you. And I would like to advise our viewers, our listeners, that you need to bring the balance in your personal, social, and professional life, especially in your personal and social life, because those things end up contributing to the professional life in a professional settings. Because sometimes you're actually, you get to a place, you meet somebody that knows you. You've not done anything wrong. Business is good, but they might pass a comment about you, which the other person might then take and start questioning your character. Right. I'll give an example of myself. As an image consultant, people expect me to always be prim and proper. But there are some days when, you don't want the heels, you don't want the lipstick, you just want to be you. Now, if I'm to meet somebody on that day, it does not mean that Joyce is having a bad day. It's just a chill day. I'm at home. I've left the house. I'm going to the grocery store to buy my groceries, But while I'm in the grocery store, I'm going to meet somebody that knows me. While I'm in the grocery store, I'm going to start making conversation. You know how people just make conversation at the till? Maybe the attendant is taking time and you start making conversation. The next question is, what do you do? Right. Then I'm going to say, okay, I'm an image consultant. Then the person looks at me head to toe. They're like, okay, she doesn't look like one. Then they're thinking of the conversation that she just insulted the till attendant. So definitely she can't be one. Now it's already business gone. But if I carry myself, well, the next thing is, okay, so where do we find you? Can we exchange details? So this is how we need to think about it. We should make it a part of our life. It should run in our bloodstream, that at any given time, even at funerals, even at a memorial, right? While you're having conversations, people will start talking about different things, even the way we respond to certain conversations. A person can pick up, I think they're in marketing. I think they're in accounting. Maybe they can help me with that. They're the ones that supplied these chairs. I should do business with them. So at every given time, be on point. Always be on point. Thank you.
Wow, this has been a very interesting conversation. I also think I was going to ask a question related to table manner etiquette, but I think the best thing is for you guys to book a consultation with Joyce. She's a professional in these regards, in etiquette and how you handle yourself. So do you have any final remarks before we put a cap to this?
Right. What I would like to say is this festive season, I wish everybody the best. Go out, enjoy yourselves, but let's not forget that there's life after the festive season. There's life after the festive season. And also, let's maximize this time where we meet different people to establish relationships. Like I said, life is about relationships. So let's always try and give our best. You might not get it 100%, but you know what? Do your best. If your 10% today is the best, that's good. You keep working on it. And by the end of the day, the next year or the next functions that come through, you'll be ready. And there's so much to learn. So people can contact us and we can help them. And I also want people to understand that when it comes to functions, there are a lot of cuisines. They also need to understand the cuisines that are there, because you need to use different styles of eating. There are different etiquettes to them. So that will take us a whole month of us talking. So it's a lot. But what is key, just be mindful of how you present yourself, how you act. And I always say, if you are in doubt of something, then don't do it. Especially when it comes to etiquette. If you are in doubt, don't. Consult, find out from your colleagues, find out from your superiors. Now, when it comes to alcohol, I say 1 glass or 1 bottle plus 2 glasses of water so that you remain sober, especially if you've not mastered the art of drinking. So that's my advice. We need you next year. We still need to do business. So please, let's take care of our manners and our etiquette.
I think I want to emphasize on the issue of boys especially, and men out there, that during this festive season, during this holiday, let us not forget our manners. There's always a quote that has, helped me so much in life, that says, manners maketh a man. That itself, you when you cling on to it, when you think about it deeply, manners maketh a man. For you to be a man, you have to have discipline, you have to have consistency, you have to have manners. That makes you a man. So I think in whatever that we are going to take during the holiday, whatever that we're going to drink, let us not forget our manners, because it's in those social mixing and mingling societies that we get those comments, they follow you wherever you go. They follow you wherever you go. So I remember one of the incidents where I had during in the combi, there were guys that I was exchanging words with. People just say whatever they want to say. Sometimes it gets on your nerves, so you start exchanging words and everything. So I never knew one of the people that I knew was in that same combi. So when I got off the combi, he started saying, so you see, it's in those small settings that you get your people are always putting their eyes on you. People are always watching, especially when you carry yourself well, when you dress well, when you speak well of yourself as well. So people are always watching. So I think it's always good to remember and to always be aware and always be conscious of our environment and our surroundings.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. This was a very insightful conversation we were having around the festive season and corporate parties as well as social parties. So we wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. As you can see right now, it's drizzling. We are just we're just happy because it has been a very hot season. But this is just an indication of the blessings. So you keep safe. We'll see you in 2024. Joyce will be there to help you seal the deal and make a lasting impression. So there you have it. Take care.
Cheers.
We hope that you have been blessed by this episode of the Greatness Factor podcast. If you wish to get in touch with Tinashe, you may visit our website at www.tinashecmudanda.com or email us at tinashe@tinashecmudanda.com. Till next time, stay blessed.